Donald Trump's worst nightmare has come true. Not only are people leaving his rallies in droves, but I think the thing that's hurting his ego even more is the fact that people are noticing that people are leaving his rallies in droves. You know, we've been speaking about it for a long time here on the MeidasTouch network, and now the corporate media is taking notice, and they finally are answering the one question that I've seen in the comments over and over from you guys. Why are they leaving his rallies? I'm going to get into this latest reporting. There's some incredible reporting out of the Washington Post. First, my name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch network. We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get alerted anytime we post a new video. Okay, let's get right into it. Here's the headline from the Washington Post. The reason people say they leave Donald Trump's rallies early. The Republican nominee consistently draws large, enthusiastic, and rowdy crowds to his rallies and other campaign events, and at nearly all of them, another trend is clear. Scores of people head out before the end. Ouch. Let me show you this tweet from a person, Simon Schuster on Twitter, says, just left Trump's rally in Saginaw. There was no internet whatsoever. Here's the crowd before Trump came on stage and shortly before his remarks concluded. And let's zoom in on this photo for a second. You could see Trump there on the stage. And let's just zoom in now on these empty seats. You see empty seats here. You see more empty seats over here. And this picture doesn't even tell you the half of it. By the half of it, I mean that literally, because more than half of this venue was completely empty. I think this was held in like a school gym or something like that. At least that's what it looked like. Let me show you this angle. You could hear Donald Trump speaking. You could see people just becoming bored. And I want you to pay particular attention to the back of this venue, and you could see how they closed off the entire back half to people packing everybody in the front. Watch this.
They get his feet out of his head, and they think this is good. But who can do this? Who can fall asleep with cameras blazing? There's our president, the president-Xi of China.
And just for even more proof, let's pull up this footage just as B-roll. You could see right here, half the venue completely empty. You see how they just pack everybody in there at the front, and they put the cameras right behind the people so it appears kind of full on TV or when it's streamed, but in reality, it's an already small venue that's packed just halfway in. And I'm probably being generous. It's probably more than half empty. And this is the image that Donald Trump is most terrified of, I think. And I want to dive into this story and hear a little bit about what people say as to why they are leaving these events. This is from the Washington Post. They say, less than 25 minutes into Donald Trump's remarks, Melissa Prescott walked out. She arrived at the Linda Ronstadt Music Hall in Tucson at 8:30 a.m. on a hot September day, waited in line outside with her teen daughter for more than 4 hours, then waited another hour inside before Trump took the stage at about 2:15 p.m. As Trump was complaining about 2016 exit polls and speaking about how he likes, quote, the old people the best, Prescott, along with dozens of others, started trickling out. The Republican presidential nominee consistently draws large, enthusiastic, and rowdy crowds to his rallies and other campaign events, and at nearly all of them, another trend is clear. Scores of people leave early. Most stay, but Trump often runs late and goes long, prompting many to bow out because of other responsibilities, priorities, or sometimes waning patience and interest, according to Washington Post interviews and observations across dozens of events. Some said they wanted to beat traffic or had to work the next day. Others complained about the sound quality. One man wanted to go home to his French bulldog. Another needed to get home to his daughter. A third had a Yorkie with him that started acting out. A fourth man said his phone died. So you already see, like they make a lot of excuses as to why they have to leave in the beginning. But let's continue with this piece because it gets good. In Las Vegas, some attendees grew frustrated with Trump's tardiness and said they had trouble hearing him. A reporter standing by the door counted more than 200 people leaving in the first 20 minutes. One attendee said they still love Trump, but said the former president would have said, quote, "You're fired," if anyone else had been as late as he was. Anastasia Bennett, 22, quickly grew tired of the insults and was ready to leave. Bennett was undecided before attending the rally with her aunt, who supports Harris. But after hearing Trump speak, she said she plans to vote for Harris. Quote, "It was the insults and just being an hour late," she said. So here you have an undecided voter going to a Trump event as Trump comes into town, leaving the event, liking Trump less and saying that she wants to support Kamala Harris. I've always had a theory that the more a lot of these undecided voters see Donald Trump, the more they turn against him and want to vote for Kamala Harris. And I think I see that bearing out while reading this piece. And I want to remind you that this happens over and over and over again. This has been happening for months, people leaving this rallies. Like, we were just talking about Donald Trump in Las Vegas. Here were people leaving Donald Trump's rally in Las Vegas. This was posted by the PTL radio show, but check this out. Tons of people leaving in the middle. Watch.
Why are all these people leaving in the middle of the speech? Donald Trump is speaking right now.
So when we get in,
and all these people are leaving. I don't get it. Look at all these people leaving right in the middle of the speech. Are they bored? I don't understand. Why are you guys leaving? Why are you guys leaving in the middle of the speech? I don't get it. Why is everybody leaving?
They're picketing in front of the
we have to work.
and they're walking up the columns with red paint that doesn't come out, by the way. You have to probably sandblast it off. They're hitting red paint all over the place.
Another MAGA moron. They're all leaving.
And just for a bit of an apples to apples comparison, let me show you this video that Donald Trump would absolutely hate to see of Kamala Harris walking on stage to a huge and fired up crowd in Las Vegas. Watch this.
The next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
One of these things is not like the other. Let's go back into this Washington Post piece. They say, the former president has told advisors that after people stand for so long and wait for so long, he needs to give them something more than a, quote, boring policy speech. One person who has spoken to him said, the speech writers craft remarks that are usually designed to go for 60 to 90 minutes, a campaign advisor said, but they know Trump will veer repeatedly off script. In Atlanta over the summer, crowds gathered for several blocks in the sweltering heat down a busy highway, waiting to get inside a Trump rally. But as he kept talking, slashing into Republican Governor Kemp and going off script, hundreds, if not thousands of people left the arena. More recently in Indiana, Pennsylvania, attendees trickled out as Trump falsely claimed that, quote, every legal expert wanted abortion policy sent back to the states. Over an hour into his speech, more left as he repeated his warning about, quote, World War III. By 9:20 p.m., about 90 minutes after he began, the empty seats were noticeable at the arena while Trump called the nation's capital a, quote, horror show. He wrapped up his speech about 5 minutes later. You know, somebody else who was also asking these questions to the people who attended these Trump rallies who were leaving is this incredible account on social media. They're called Distill Social. Make sure that you follow them if you use Instagram or Twitter or wherever. I think they're just about everywhere. But they asked at the Macomb County, Michigan Trump rally, they asked people why they were leaving early, and all these people just gave kind of these random excuses. They said folks were leaving early in droves, hundreds and hundreds. But listen to what these people had to say. Just a lot of excuses.
The rally's still going on. Why do you have to leave? That's unfortunate.
I work my ass off. I work 3 jobs just to be able to afford everything. With the fact that they take so much from me in overtime, it doesn't make sense to work 1 job. So I work 3 so that way they take less taxes from me.
He's still speaking in there. Why'd you leave?
Because I have to get on before dark.
It did. It just started.
But we've been waiting, a while.
We've been waiting for a little while, and
Okay.
And there's no chair, so my feet are killing me.
I have a medical condition, so I can't stand very long. So
Yeah.
He's talking. He just got up there. We're like, we've seen him. Now we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, that is a whole lot of excuses. And by the way, maybe that first guy should know that Trump wants to get rid of the overtime pay that he relies upon. I think that's kind of an important thing that should inform his decisions. The Washington Post story comes just a few weeks after the New York Times did their own expose where they did a photographic experiment where they analyzed photos from the beginning of Trump's rallies and about an hour into Trump's rallies and compared who was still there at the end of that hour. And you could see the results here are absolutely damning. jamming. You see in the first shots, you see a lot of those seats filled up. But by the time about an hour in, you see kind of mostly empty seats. A lot of people have left and trickled out. This is a recurring theme at these Trump events. And it's really getting to Donald Trump. Like he doesn't want people to even acknowledge or to think that it's happening, even when it's happening right before their eyes. Like the other day in Walker, Michigan, Donald Trump went on this whole rant as people were leaving saying, it only looks like they're leaving. They're not really leaving. It's don't believe your own eyes. Like, watch this.
I want to explain something. The people that you see leaving, because nobody ever leaves. And when they do, I finish up quick, believe me. But I couldn't take pictures at the beginning. So I take them at the end sometimes. If I'm late, the plane gets late, you get delayed, lots of things happen. There's a little hurricane going on in Florida, as you know. And so what they do is they say, oh, please come up now at the end of my speech. I said, don't do that, because it looks like they're leaving, like your husband who owns this place.
And no, they actually were leaving. Here is video proof of them leaving that exact event while Donald Trump was saying that. And this is now like one of the main things Trump talks about at his rallies. Like he was in Michigan with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. He did this fake town hall and he brought this up as well. He brought up people leaving his rallies and says, nobody leaves my rallies. Everybody stays at my rallies. I would end my rallies if people left. Watch him. You could tell that it's really affecting him psychologically.
She said, I don't think I've ever said this before. So we do these rallies. They're massive rallies. Everybody loves, everybody stays till the end, by the way. You know, when she said that, well, your rallies, people leave. Honestly, nobody does. And if I saw them leaving, I'd say, and ladies and gentlemen, make America great again, and I'd get the hell out, okay? Because I don't want people leaving. But I do have to say, so I give these long, sometimes very complex sentences and paragraphs, but they all come together. I do it a lot. I do it with Raising Cane, that story. I do it with the story on the catapults on the aircraft carriers. I do it with a lot of different stories. When I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter, I'm using that as an example of people that are coming in from Silence of the Lambs. I use it. They say, it's terrible. So they say, so I'll give this long, complex area. For instance, that I talked about a lot of different territory. The bottom line is, I said, the most important thing. We're going to bring more plants into your state and this country to make automobiles. We're going to be bigger than before. But the fake news, there's a lot of them back there. You know, for a town hall, there's a lot of people. But the fake news likes to say, oh, he was rambling. No, that's not rambling. That's genius, when you can connect the dots. You gotta. Now, Sarah, if you couldn't connect the dots, you got a problem. But every dot was connected, and many stories were told in that little paragraph.
But the evidence does not lie, Donald. I hate to break it to you. Like, here's Trump's audience exiting as he rambled incoherently in Pennsylvania, leaving even more empty seats than there already were. Watch this.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, New York, Broome County, PA, Paul Battisti. Thank you, Paul.
And you got to take a look at this photo. This was taken about a minute after Donald Trump walked off stage at the Pennsylvania event, and look what was left of the crowd. I mean, this place is almost completely empty. You got kind of like a panoramic shot showing that here. Just absolutely embarrassing. And even these Trump events where he tries to claim that there are so many people. Remember when he made up just a complete lie that he had like 100,000 people in Wildwood, New Jersey, when it turned out that was like the population of the town? Yeah, complete and total lie. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Most of the people left in the middle of Donald Trump's speech, whatever the heck he was doing up there. And you could hear him in this clip. Like, this area was full of people in the beginning, and you could see how empty and desolate it is by the end. Listen carefully, because you could hear him while I play this.
Frank Sinatra and so many more. New Jersey is where General George Washington led the army to victory at Trenton and Princeton. And this is where generations of New Jersey patriots helped build this country into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, it's lost its willpower, and it's lost its strength. We are a nation that has quite simply lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue.
And I truly believe that this was the moment where Vice President Harris broke Trump. This was the moment when Vice President Harris looked at Donald Trump and said, people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And take note of Donald Trump's face after she says this.
And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Yeah, that shook him to his core, and he has not been able to recover ever since. And I've noticed, like, especially this week, the Washington Post has been doing some incredible stories, even beyond this story. By the way, I think we have like a code. If you go to WashingtonPost.com/Meidas, I think they give you a subscription for like 50 cents a week or something. It's actually a great deal. WashingtonPost.com/MEIDAS. But let me take a look at some of the recent other stories that they've done. Like they did this story. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did. Donald Trump falsely accuses President Biden of redirecting disaster funds, a budget maneuver Trump himself approved in 2019. That is great fact-checking and great reporting. Another one I saw this week, how Biden helped end a port strike that threatened Democrats in November. With early morning Zoom calls and a surprising ultimatum, the White House Brain Trust averted a potential economic disaster weeks before the election. These are all some really great pieces, and we could be very critical of the corporate media here. I know you know that, but when they do a good job, I think it's always important that we acknowledge that as well. And you know, we're going to be continuing to follow these stories day in and day out until Election Day and beyond. So I hope you stick in there with us. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers, and we can't get there without you. So hit that subscribe right now. If you're already subscribed, hit the notification bell right next to it so that you get reminders every time we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in a bit.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.